Greetings.
Hola.
How are you?
Oh, good. How,
Awesome, awesome.
how you feeling?
Pretty good. Can't complain at all.
Let's get it.
I could, but I won't.
So I care about. I know what that means.
Uh-huh. So, I'll let you tell the people who don't know you. I'm sure everybody on here probably does know you, but you've been a inspiration to me. I've been following you for some years. I got to meet you in person for the first time at the First Remedy Conference in Atlanta, Georgia, and I thought you were mean at first, but getting to know you now, I think the last thing that we discussed when we were in California, like you said, you are all about solutions. So if we're not talking about, you're no nonsense person, but at the same time you're real cool and down to earth. But
Yeah.
from the outside looking in, it's like, oh man, he's mean,
I'm
But
a nice guy.
yeah, getting to know you, you're completely different. And so there's a lot that I could say about you, but in short, can you give my followers a brief interview or explanation of who you are and what you do?
Um, that's always the hardest question for me.
Hmm.
Um, so I am General Hellraiser from the Malachi Empire. I am, which is a indigenous Aboriginal micronation slash tribal organization. Um, we're just that's a government built structure that offers different products and services and solutions to the members of the organization, such as tribal identification, tax exemption benefits, health insurance, life insurance, uh, international driver's license, driving permits, vital records, birth certificates, naming certificates, you name it, that we pretty much do it. Passports now. Um, yeah. Also, we have, of course, departments just like any other government does. Business departments, such as Trade Capital, that offers trust and estate planning services, uh, business formations, multi-layered structures, LLCs, S corps, things that's owned by trusts, that does business as other names, and different layers and stuff like that. Our main focus in that division is asset protection and privacy. So every structure is built with that aspect. We are a a home in the sovereign community for or a source in the sovereign community for uh, you know building and maintaining and knowing how to navigate through the world of commerce in your private capacity. So we are definitely knees deep in that particular lane and all aspects of privacy and and the educational aspects on how to operate privately when it comes to all aspects of privacy. And yeah, I mean, it's just a multitude of different things. Other than that, I'm a system-based type of guy, so I have, I'm responsible for a lot of different systems, from communications, Zoom technologies, WhatsApp type technologies. I don't know, just I'm a creator. I like creating things. I'm sort of addicted to it, so that's what I do.
Yeah. What's your sign? You Gemini?
No,
What?
I'm
No, don't frown on the Gemini.
no, I'm just no, I'm just my bad. My little brother Gemini, he a little asshole, but I love him to death. But now I'm an Aries, April 1st.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm the fire in the sky.
Yeah, you did just have a birthday. I just
Yeah,
yeah, kind of forgot about that.
yeah,
Yeah, when you said the creativity, that thought of myself. Gemini's usually run that department. Not saying we the only ones, but
yeah.
we run that department. But um, diving right into it. Well, first off, I want to let the people know that I am a part of the Malachi Empire. It's definitely something that you guys should dive into. Like he says, he's all about nation building and coming up with solutions. We got a lot of people that are all about talk. Everybody's talking and telling you what you should do. But when you find people who are actually giving you a way out and giving you answers, those are the people that you need to zone in on. So if you guys are not following Hellraiser, do that ASAP. So with everything going on in America right now, can you please speak on Zelle Cashapp and how you suggest people move with it? Because my personal experience, I created a Cash App, a business Cash App, and I had it for about a year, and then all of a sudden they decided to block my card. So I'm trying to figure out why I couldn't use it. And then when they finally responded back to me 3 months later, they said that because I had a business address, they blocked my card. So you're taking money, every transaction I get, you take money from me because it's a business account. So I have a business address. So why do you want me to have a person? You want me to give up my personal information? So right now I still have the Cash App just because, it's a quick way to move money and everything like that. But at the same time, I just do without the card and just move the money. But can you please speak on what they are doing underhandedly?
Yeah, I mean, Cash App is cool. I really I come down on Cash App and Cash App users only pertaining to the business aspect. I mean, because as far as, put it like this, a lot of scammers use Cash App, so that tell you that there obviously is some sort of leniency when it comes to privacy, because obviously they're not telling them who they are and giving them real stuff, real information or whatever. So so because of that, I know there is some type of loopholes on being able to use the app and stuff like that. But when it comes to business, it was never built for business, right? It was never. But I think they just were paying attention to the transaction types and just just the hype of seeing how people were using the app, and I think everybody started using it for business, and they said, let's say Cash App for business now. That doesn't make it, business worthy just because they say that, and like you say, the reason why it happened is because, we are suckers for convenience. It's easy, until it gets greasy. You know what I'm saying? Then when it gets greasy, so it's like, so that's what it's all about. So it's all about being able to identify what things are and what they aren't. I'm not saying don't ever use it, but know what to use it for and what it shouldn't be used for. That's it. Same thing. But Cash App is not as bad as Zelle. Zelle won't even let me open up an account. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, because first of all, and that'll kind of tell you how would they know? Well, do they know it's me? Do they really, are they psychic? No, they just have a technology that can determine, sort of who you are, because the Zelle is built off a identification, verification and validation system. And how they do that is by way of your telephone number. So how you can figure that out is that if you're able to operate, to even create a Zoom account, that means your telephone number is directly tied to your social security number. So you see what I mean? So they just tied. So that means now that account is directly tied to your straw man. You see me? So that makes that account now public, and also a liability, to you personally. Because of that. So you might be conducting business, but all the business you're doing is now still tied in conjunction with your government name, your individuality, so to speak. So it's not good for that. Never been good for it at all. Like I say, Zelle is more so a bank technology. That's why all the banks are inheriting it and adopting Zelle, what is it? What all of them are doing it now. And then now it comes FedNow. FedNow is just the same thing, except it's just like the government's version, which is the worser version of the Zelle. They were just waiting. They were just sitting back waiting for Zelle to iron out all the kinks. And then you know what I'm saying? Once they seen Zelle has successfully done that, and now they're scaling from bank to bank. Now, okay, let's launch ours now. So that's all that was about. But it's all fabrics of the same cloth. You know, that's it. That's all.
I just saw something. I think I just saw something where they're saying that the government is trying to, with this FedNow, invade out. Like, we won't have any privacy on any of our transactions if they do pass the bill. How can we go ahead?
No, it doesn't matter if they pass a bill or not. It's already a breach of privacy because alongside with the technology is there's an embed. See, there's always multiple affiliates in relation to one particular thing. Like, you know, what's a good one? Okay, put it like this. Anytime that you go through, sign up for an account, and they ask you for your convenience, because typically when you do certain things, you know, you have to confirm the account. So it might take a few days because they have to make these small deposits. Remember? Like, think about the times you have to wait the few days for them to make little small deposits for you to confirm the deposit amount, and then you can merge the accounts or whatever like that to be able to utilize whatever service. But anytime you can skip that, and you could just attach your bank account directly by logging in directly from that server. Once that happens, now you just try merge both sectors, both situations. So now you're dealing with KYC. So the KYC technology is also embedded in applications such as Zelle, Cashapp, mainly Zelle, and definitely FedNow. You know what I'm saying? So KYC is abbreviation for Know Your Customer. So know your customer technology. The purpose of that is to be able to monitor your day-to-day transactions, so they can monitor what you're buying, when you're buying it, how often you're buying it. So now they can determine spending habits and history and patterns. So now this is a definite downfall for businesses, especially if you're seeking to position yourself to get funding, loans, and stuff like that, because now, now you don't have to, because back in the day we could just give them some hard copy bank statements, right? But so now if you give them access to your account, the bank statements is irrelevant because now they're able to be. So now it's like, put it like this: when for lending determining factors, it's not about how much you even bring in now. It's about how much you bring in, but it's also about what you're doing with the money, how the funds are being allocated throughout each month. So now there can be a huge discrimination factor based on how you're spending your money. So a lot of you guys and a lot of us that's in business, a lot of money that comes in might have to go out. You see what I mean? So depending on how it's going out, if it does not complement the algorithm, of the artificial intelligence that's monitoring your activities, if it doesn't complement that, then you can possibly get denied for loans and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to make things a lot harder for people to get funding with that technology.
Wow. So, like I said, I know you're solution based and you have Trick Capital Wallet. Would you be able to give us a brief explanation on exactly what that does? Like, how does it work? How would you use it and benefit from it?
A Trade Capital Wallet is, simply an application, like a simple banking application, similar because it has the ledger, It can keep track of transactions and purchase history and stuff like that. But it's designed to to allow any type of company, whether it's a business trust, S corp, C corp, sole corp, ministries, whatever, any company with an EIN number can register their business and select any desired credit amount, and that credit amount will be reported on their business credit report. So it's kind of a legit currency exchange where you take the US dollar, convert it into the credit, you leverage the credit over time, and you pull back the equity, which is cash again. So that's what that is in a nutshell.
I might be like a little on the slow side when it comes to like how would you because I know you have coins available too, like you have your own coin.
That's separate.
Okay,
yeah.
Separate. Okay, so
that's the actual cryptocurrency. So that's our actual currency. So just so the concept of the Malachi dollar is every country, every nation needs their own money. Simple as that. So we created it. So outside of having our own money, we need a way for people to exchange that money. It's like if you go to Africa, you can't just go to Africa and pull out US dollars. You got to stop at the currency exchange first. Right. So now when you come to the Malachi Empire, you stop at the currency exchange, convert those US dollars over to Malachi dollars, and now you can come to the marketplace and go shopping.
Dope. Like I said, if y'all not following him, y'all better go follow him, and join the Malachi Empire, get those IDs. They're very important, very beneficial. So I was asked about a tribal number. Like I said, I'm a part of the Malachi Empire as an indigenous Aboriginal. I was asked about a tribal number and told most people don't consider you real unless you have a tribal number. Do you have one? And if not, what would be your response? That's question. So it's like a two-part question. I know you snapped maybe about a month ago on somebody who was trying to get IDs done, and they were trying to tell you that they're a real tribe to say that you were not. How would you respond to those two questions?
Well, first I would the fact that the matter probably the person asking the question is not even qualified to ask me that question. Secondly, who is the determining factor of what's real and what's fake? Put it like this. We are the go-to and or becoming the go-to at the same time for the so-called real tribal organizations. So, we have affiliations with tribal organizations that's been here for decades, centuries. Why is that so? So obviously it's something that we're doing that is correct, and that's still a necessity, rather, you see what I mean? So it's like, see, the problem is that people are speaking on things they don't understand. You see what I mean? And like I say, a lot of things that we do is based on where the world is going. Most tribal organizations are not even competent in the areas of reality, law, or whatever to even be able to progress in the proper fashions at the proper speed to be able to even keep up with where the world is going. You see what I mean? So that's just the facts of the matter there. So now, as far as being real, is when somebody says because they say, well, are you federally recognized? And to me, again, that's an insulting question. But I don't get insulted because that's still somebody speaking from a place of not even being competent enough to even speak on that subject. Because if you are even halfway in the area of understanding based on the general basics of, the secure party creditor world, sovereignty, contract law, and stuff like that, you would know us having a federal contract would be a stupid conflict of interest, a contradiction to everything we're doing. So that means that, because we have a choice to be federally contract. I had a choice to say, go through this application process and now take our private our private sovereign community and nation and recontract it back to the state, to the government, to the United States government for the sake of benefits. So I would tell that person to go back to their slave building and go to sleep. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, it's like people are speaking from a place that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's so deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? You know, like I say, a lot of decisions that's made in the beginning, you know, half the stuff that I've done in the beginning, people was like questioning, right? But now they right in line on what, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, and it's always going to be like that because we're doing things that haven't been really seen, been done from scratch, for one, you know, and then the fact that I got the color skin I got, and the fact that I'm still a pretty young guy, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they kind of like, you know, they take things a certain way, or certain things go over their head or whatever, or it's like, I don't know, it's just the psychology of people or whatever, but, you know, yeah, that'd be my response. I don't even know if I answered the question. Dennis, you said something about a number. I don't know what number they're talking about, but what are you talking about? Tax exemption number?
Well, I asked that question. I didn't really get an answer. They were just saying whatever. They were saying that they knew how, or they knew that they were able to get like grants and different things if I did have I guess a tribal number. So
Oh, well,
like,
yeah, yeah. It's one of those things. You can call that. Well, let's say this. Don't the numbers we have is yes. Do we have our own tax exemption number? Yes, we do. You know, I know everybody was using the same tax exemption number from the Moorish American stuff, but no, we have our own shit. But the thing is that if I can guess what they're talking about, they're talking about a government contract number, you know, to the contract that they have with the government, which again is something that we have no desire for. And again, they're speaking from a place of wanting to reap a benefit, which goes back to a slave mentality. You know what I'm saying? That which goes against and contradicts the whole act of our so-called independent. Everybody want to be independent. People are, oh my God, just want to. It's like you can't be both. You know what I'm saying? You can't. It's like, which one is it? You know, it's like we want to talk our shit about the government, this and this and that, and blah blah blah. I want to be free. I want to be free, brother. All this stuff, but then you want to. First thing is, how can you get some money from them? I don't want $1 from the government. I don't need it. I didn't have $1 from the government to this day, and we're doing fine with our developments. You see what I mean? So whatever we got, we all right. You know what I'm saying? So, and then if you're in a position that offers services that are a necessity, you know what I'm saying? Not only for the Malachian Empire, but for other organizations, both federal and non-federal. Like, how can we lose? I mean. So guess what? All the shit I could talk about being federally contracted. If I got some federally contracted friends, can I use that as an affiliation? So couldn't I leverage that relationship because we have a treaty with this federal organization? Isn't that a affiliation technically? So yeah. So if there's benefits that we benefited from through federal contracts, it's not because we got a federal contract, it's because our buddies do. So you talking to somebody that's going to leverage on both sides one way or the other, but I'm not finna sell myself and sell my people back on the slave ship for a reap of a benefit. So whoever doesn't get that could jump off the ship, you know?
gotcha.
Simple as that.
Great answer. You have some people in the comments that want to know about the IDs. We got the Malachi Empire ambassador. He's answering as well, responding back to the people. What would you say? People have to join. They have to become a part of the nation, right? To get the IDs, or because what would you say to that? They're asking how can they get the IDs and stuff.
I would ask them what state they're from. I like people answering their own questions. I would say, what state are you from? So if you're from the state of uh, Virginia, can you get a Virginia ID without being a Virginia resident, which mean a member of Virginia? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then the answer is yes over here. You have to be a member. You see what I mean? So the same, like I said, we're not an identification company. We're a nation-based, government-based, private tribal organization. So yes, so that means we respect the same standards as such. So yes, the answer to that question would be yes. And the reason why I answer the question the way I do, because I need to stimulate something, you know what I'm saying? Because we're the way we think, the psychology is all kind of like that we're not getting what we're doing and why we're doing it that way. You see what I mean? And because a lot of people think like that. So that's why. So if one person asks that question, I'm answering that for everybody that thinks, and that's the majority. And that's because how a lot of things have been promoted throughout this whole time from other types of organizations. So they get us confused, right? Because they think that's regular. That's not how you're supposed to be doing it. You shouldn't be bearing identification from anything that you're not a part of. Like, how can you bear our identification and not be a member of our organization? Wouldn't you at least be a representative? Because guess what? Let you go off and go shoot somebody, they're going to be calling us. Right? So, yeah, okay. We have to start thinking on that level.
I hope you guys understood. I see some states in here. So basically he's saying you have to join first. Can you, when you guys drop the website where they could become a member or apply to become a member, in the comment section?
I should have had you get your link, and so you could put that in the chat so you can sign up under you.
Should have. Okay. Well, when I repost the live, I'll include it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I had an experience. I was able to use my IDs for the first time on last Saturday. But before I was able to show my IDs, I was detained, roughed up a little bit. So I had my first encounter with the policy agents. And I had a real nasty cop who automatically considered me a sovereign citizen, which we know that is not a real term. We know that everybody born in America is considered sovereign. One of the things I talked to a couple people. I had a nasty cop who was telling me that I didn't have a right to do anything that I was doing, which was the right to travel privately in my own private property, even though I had notices on my automobile along with my private tags and my private international IDs. I wasn't able to even show that until after they had already done what they did to me. So we're handling it, and I'm excited for the aftermath, so I can show you guys, because I have everything on video as well. What would be your suggestion on how to deal with cops? And my main thing is, like you said, prevention. So not even being able to get stopped. But if you were to get stopped, how do you suggest handling your interaction with them?
Well, if we basing it based on actually getting stopped, I probably would do it. I probably would do it just like you did, very just, non-confrontational, just, you got to be real cool, because it's a huge safety risk dealing with these policy enforcers and stuff like that, as we know. So we don't want to give them any type of leeway or excuse to make us one of those headlines or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's all about getting back home. And because at the end, we have to always reflect on the actual reality of the matter, whether it's right or wrong. And right now, our best defense is via administration. You see what I mean? So we don't we don't have as many guns as them, as many, as big of a military as them and stuff like that. It's them against us, so we still will be considered the small fish on that level. We just have to admit where we are at in the situation. At least that's the circumstance for now. So, we just have to know where our best position of power is when it comes to defense. So sometimes you got to go through the motion, and go through the course and until you can, and then get them on the back end, like that. Let an agent do what an agent do. An agent is there to do what an agent does. The agent, most of them don't know no better. Most of them are fucking high school nerds and whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just let them, just try to make the situation as smooth and fast as possible. And then when you get home in front of that computer, you bust their motherfucking head. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it.
Facts. Facts. Yeah, that's the hard part for me because I'm more like the rage of the all the feelings that you feel because you know that they don't know, and then you just the fact of them. The one that I had, he was so cocky and nasty and like rough, and he felt like he had the right to just treat you like like trash. And
Yeah.
so being able, like you said, to keep your composure. Like I said, I study and I watch all of that. I watch videos all the time, so I was able to we asked for the supervisor. They sent out a lieutenant. I don't think she was the highest they had, but she seemed to be on their side. Like she was just saying like,
Of course.
but it all depends on the cop that you're dealing with, because I've gotten stopped before just for them trying to read my tags, and once they read it and saw it, they went about their business. So you have people that are being nosy. That's not legal for them to just stop you just on having private tags. But like you said, they feel like they could do what they want to do. And if we don't stand for something, we're going to fall for anything. Right now, they are trying to take every bit of privacy, every right that we have. They're trying to do away with it. And the world, like the masses, aren't seeing the problem. So they're and when I was doing research last night, like you say, you get in front of that computer and just bust their ass. So I was doing, I was doing more studying, and I came across a federal website that are labeling sovereign citizens, which even though you can say I'm not a sovereign citizen, but I am
That's
sovereign.
paper terrorists.
Yeah, they're trying to say that we're a threat, like a domestic, like we're a threat to them. That's on
Yeah.
their federal website. I'm like,
Yeah.
we just trying to we just want to be left alone, like
I
mind
mean,
our business.
but that's because, but at the same time, that's incorrect, right? That's an incorrect narrative, for sovereignty in general and for us as sovereign, men and women. But at the same time, we have to also acknowledge and hold ourselves responsible and accountable for why that is so. The reason why that is so because we do have a lot of belligerent, wild, crazy, militant, minded individuals that's doing a whole bunch of extra shit and making the block hot. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna name no names, but it's a particular organization that's responsible for the shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that means we have to switch everything up. That's why I switched everything up. That's why I stopped using the word. I don't even use the word American no more. That's how we went from American nationals, even though we know we are private American nationals or whatever by technicality, right? But even with that technicality, because of the word alone, still leaves room for a possible assumption. So we have to remove all assumptions. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I realized we have to go into the area of foreign nationals, right? Because we're foreign to the said organization or said government called or classified as United States or USA, whatever. So we're native here, but we're foreign to the actual organization.
Gotcha. Perfect.
And if you look up the definitions of foreign, you will see the word sovereignty. You will see the word sovereign. So that's the secret. Everything on the foreign side, the sovereignty side, is on the outside, which is on the international side or private side of things. That's where we get all the answers from.
Powerful. How did you get into into this. I know that you do music as well. My story is, like I tell people, I wanted to be free. I wanted to be able to travel, and not be bothered, not worry about, because with all the shootings after the Charleston 9, I'm from South Carolina, that sent me down a rabbit hole. And so, what made you find and start digging? In the South, I can say, I know for like places like New York, like the streets is always hot with teachers and different things like that. But from the South, we didn't know nothing. Like all we know is church. Like we don't have no teachers on the corner. We don't have no corners. You know what I'm saying? So how did you come into the knowledge and decide that this is what I'm gonna do? And did that make you pause on the music, or did you just get, you know, tired of doing the music and just like, I'm gonna just do this on the side when I get some free time or whatnot?
I mean, shit. The music wasn't making no money. For one, you got to you got to be able to afford to do it. So music is something, as a personal thing. It's more of a personal outlet. Personal. It's a thing that I use as an outlet as a personal expression. We need to have ways to express ourselves in different ways to help stimulate growth. So yeah, as far as for business, no, I didn't. I stopped spending all my money on goddamn keyboards and shit. I stopped selling cars for studio time. Yeah, I stopped doing that because it stopped making sense. So I guess that happened when I started having kids and stuff like that. And I had to start making better decisions for my life, because I'm responsible for more than myself. So, but I still kept it, still kept certain things. I didn't sell my keyboard, didn't sell my mic, didn't sell certain components. I keep it. If you go in my room right now, I have a little studio session set up. You know what I'm saying? So I make some beats every 6 months or so, and it gets cold again. Then I might go in the studio about maybe 5 times a year. But this is when I'm producing all this stuff. So people be thinking I'll be active, but I don't. I just when I show up, I just stay there. I stay there for a day. I'm like, we got to get the album done today. I'm not coming back. No redos. We got to shoot the video tomorrow. I can't, because if I go any longer than that means I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I don't got time to be a rapper right now. You know what I'm saying? So, it's all about that. So that in a combination of everything else that I might use as an outlet, whether it's music, what I'm saying, martial arts, or whatever. Just different aspects of ways for me to express myself.
Joe, I can completely understand with the music. Like, it's a lot more that goes into it than comes out of it.
Yeah.
Last question. Well, not really a question, but can you talk on the blue check and, why it's in the trickery of it all? Like, it's kind of beneficial to an extent, but I've still been getting, people said, I've heard that it was going to stop and do away with all of the duplicate pages, but I'm still getting pages from people who purchased the blue check from, scammers. So can you talk on why it's like detrimental to a certain extent?
That's tell you right there. Like I say, I've seen a bunch of scam pages, clear scam pages that have blue checks. You know what I'm saying? But even outside of that, the system that they have now, again, is an identification verification system. So people fail to realize or remember that your profiles is your profile to your legal person, meaning that they use that to profile you. So when it comes to pulling your records, and researching, they're using the data from these platforms, Facebook, Instagram, blah, 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 all the same thing. They all owned by the same people now. You know what I'm saying? And they're using the information we put on there. So if you go through this blue check validation system to let them know that it's the real you, right? That go again with the Real ID Act. Let people know you go through this process and you provide them with this other information to confirm and that this is the real you, based on whatever you do, whatever you say, whatever you post. This is the real you from this point. From this checkpoint, you just checkmated your own ass. So now everything you say and everything you do can be used against you in the court of law. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? So no, I don't have a blue check. What? Why would, like, my government person doesn't even really exist. He has a Facebook page, but he probably ain't posted in like 14 years. He's a fucking loser. Nobody knows him. And I want it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, now the other guy you see is my avatar. You know?
Mm-hmm.
This is the person that the public can have. My private person. You can't have, you know what I'm saying? That I created.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it's not, you never wanna you never wanna become the avatar, because if you die in the Matrix, you know, you die in real life.
Mm.
So they're trying to make y'all become the avatar.
So you're saying that the world can see the person that you created, but not the real you, right?
What you
Did it go?
No, what I'm saying is this is gonna be considered the real you.
The social media world.
Like literally, yeah.
Gotcha.
If you really think about that, that is very dangerous. Like that is very dangerous, because think about it, because people really live on this motherfucker. Think about it. So there's some people that's live every fucking hour. People live on this. People not only live on here, this is the place where people share their truest expressions, personal expressions, business expressions, relationship expressions, this expression, that expression. Everything is either being tweeted, posted, shared, whatever it is, in every aspect. So now, you know, everything. What else is recorded? Our thoughts and our voices. So you know, they got the AIs now that can mimic our voices and do all this. So it's like we're providing them with all this data, all this data, like call it like digital DNA, all these digital DNA traits that we're granting. Because if you go through their system and grant these aspects of you as the real you through their system, that now becomes their real property. So now you become real estate again, except now digital real estate. So they're digitizing us. They're trying to digitize you. So they want you to be comfortable being with the check. Like, hey, it's me, the black. Oh, that's you. That's her for real, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? She got the blue check. You know what I'm saying? Like, why? Mark my word. People are gonna get. People are gonna be. People are gonna be found guilty or liable for all types of stuff in relation to that blue check, whether it's from child support, whether it's from people are probably going to start getting terminated from jobs or denied job opportunities, all type of stuff. They've been doing that even on Facebook, but now the blue check solidifies. You know what I'm saying? It's like nah. It's like and what makes it even worse is that they're selling it to you now. So people are buying their own demise. You know, it's a psychology game. That's why my first objective is to shake people's head, like snap out of it. Snap out of it. Like quit getting sold on this false perception of reality and see what's really going on. You know? It's like we just be following along, like for suckers. If something's too sweet, I'm gonna be like, you know. And any application I ever fill out, I'm always looking like, let me make sure. I'm always, every single application I ever fill out, anything I'm filling out or submitting information to, nah, you got to be extra cautious, you know, and not even cautious all the time. A lot of times I'm either I have an area of caution, and I also have the other area is leverage. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always looking for opportunity to input the information that I want to input into the system. Reflect that shit. Share that. Hey, let them know I stay over there, but I really stay over here. Let them know if you whatever you put on social media about you personally should be the opposite of what it really is, as far as your personal
Fact.
information.
I know I said that was the last question, but I lied. Because you talked on the real, that would be the real ID. A lot of people already have the real ID on their license, right?
Sure do.
So is there any way that they can reverse it, like get rid of that, or go back to the old if they wanted to keep that driver's license?
Yes and no. So they have it. They have it so that that's why we got to kind of this. So this is another part of the game where we have to know how to properly take certain answers and responses. Because if you go down to the DMV or the Secretary of State and you say and you try to double back like and be like, yo, it's against my religious beliefs to have because the only way around the Real ID Act. The Real ID application, because this is a dual application. That's its own separate application within your driver's application or your state ID application. But they just sell it all in one, so you don't know what's the difference. But it's two different things. And the Real ID application is simply, again, reaffirming now and updating their systems and records to let them know, like, because they're doing a new update. So the update with the Real ID is like probably the biggest, most important update they ever did in identification history, which is adding a waiver of real religious rights. So that star confirms that you did that, right? So if anybody knows any basic aspects of law, we know the religious aspects of law is the greatest foundation of law to stand on, based upon what you do for your religious beliefs. Why? Because we all know no state or government can do what? Intervene with a man or woman's religious beliefs. So once you waive that, we really ain't got no rights, So now, of course, you can't go ask them. You can't say like, oh, I want to XYZ. You have to know what to ask for. So you ask. So that's where the photo exemption comes from, because that stems from your religious beliefs. So that's where the photo exemption comes from, your ministries. So now because you're not, the photo exemption removes their right to be able to identify you on their identification, because you have the right to self-identify, or nothing can identify you outside of you. But if you go through the process, the application process of waiving those rights and submitting to that application, you now said that this is not the real you. This is the real you. Are y'all get what I'm saying here? You're now saying that this is no longer the real you. Remember, the state and government, the organization can never deal with the flesh and blood ever. They could never have done. So the objective was always to recreate you. So now this new ID is the full confirmation and evidence of a contract that says now you said that this is the real you. So now we're going to deal with you as such, which is a legal subject with no rights. So when we complain about they're breaking the law, they're not.
So they could turn that back in. Like,
okay, so how you do it is, if you go down there and try to do it the proper way, then they're gonna. Now the agent, I haven't had any problems. The agents don't seem to really, like it. You'll think it's like a big. It's not really. It's a same day process, But the problem is the system will not allow them to go back. So I know this for a fact. So the system, once you get that, the system won't. So the only way to do that is you break the contract. Now the easy way to break the contract is what we all have done before, for the most part, probably. When you move from one state to the next, what happens? You get a you get a new contract with the new state, which means you have to go through another application, right? But then when you submit to the application, they resend that shit on your behalf. So they break the contract with the other state on your behalf. So now if you wanted to, like some states, they kind of fishy with the process, though. You know what I'm saying? So let's say if the state you went to wasn't say they don't allow that or whatever. But you know the one you just left from does. It's like you can transfer over there and then come right back over, come back to the crib and then redo it again. So because now you just open up a new contract. So think about that and use that principle with everything. You can always, there's always a way to break the contract and kind of go back into a new contract for the most part in most things. And that's how you do it with that.
Someone said they got a CDL. What can they do? Because they had, I guess he had to get the real ID. What happened?
Same thing. So now the beautiful part about, you know, going in up under the correct way through your ministries is, you know, now you know, a peace officer asks for your driver's license and stuff like that, or your ID, and you give him an ID with that shit on it. That ain't got no face, and he know it's a real. Because think about it. The psychology of an agent, they don't believe, a lot of them don't believe shit real unless it's from one of their states, right? So if you get them some shit from their shits, like, yeah, they be like, fuck, that's automatically gonna, from face value, gonna tell them like, whoever the fuck you is, you on some other shit. I ain't seen this before, and they gonna go back. And now now we can use their ID as a front, and now use our identification as a back, because they would like to see a face on the ID, right? So yeah, this is my I'm exempt through my ministries, and here's my ministerial identification that has my face, where we do, you know. We do accept photographs, but we don't allow any outside parties to identify us, right? So now it's like, oh shit. So just in case y'all not realize, that's like the highest level of status correction when it comes to your what's name. So I just told y'all that. Free game.
Y'all drop the bombs in the comments, because
So,
I'm understanding it. I believe. So I have I rescinded and turned in all their, you know, documents, license, all that. I have my private IDs. I can then go, after I get my private foreign trust, and get a ID without my face on it in my private trust name.
no. Everything we remember, you don't need to do any type of status correction with your private name. It's already, you know what I'm saying? It's correction on the private side. It's correction on the public side. You're correcting some shit. We don't need to. All we need to do is correct on this side. So that person's fine. You're gonna build him up, build her up. Mm-hmm. So now I'm talking about correcting, because we're still gonna be using that public person for different things. That's fine. I'm not saying throw it away. I'm saying know how to use it in a proper position yourself in relation to both of those legal persons. You know what I'm saying? So the two things the two areas of status correction we supposed to been doing with the identification is the religious exemption, which is the photo exemption, as well as the address correction. You know, making sure you have a third party address on your ID and it's not going directly to your home. You know.
Gotcha.
All that's done correctly, you're going to get a status correction code. It's going to be restriction number 3. It's going to be on the back of the card.
Gotcha. So would I need an ID without, like a state ID without my face, like a religious exempt ID?
I think, like I said, I'm like Jason Bourne. You know, I like having multiple, you know what I'm saying? Multiple parties, multiple people for different purposes. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you have a state ID, definitely that's how it should be done. And if you don't have a state ID, I think it's beneficial too, because that ID only applies to you when you use it. Let's understand. You know what I'm saying? That ID, and you're a prime example of that, because you just experienced that. They just wrote you tickets that have nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can that ticket affect you? You see what I mean? So that's because it's tied to another legal person, which is not in their system. They have no record of it. It's not in their system. They have no ownership because they did not create that legal person. You did. You the creator.
Gotcha. So the only person that would need that religious exempt ID without the photo is a person who wants to still operate in the public,
With that,
but without that license or that ID, that real ID.
right. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay.
Because look, when if a person has the time and the budget to go through the process, the objective is to build up your private person, correct and control the public person, but then shit, double back and recreate a new private person that has the same name as the public person, right? So now, like I say, now you can give them your photo exempt ID and also give them your other private identification that has the private person that's private but has the same name as the public person, and that kind of give it weight on, you know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of way. So but you got to remember, you're creating all these people now. You know what I'm saying? So so just as long as you understand the science of it, you'll know when it applies and where it applies. So it's a lot of different things we could do on so many different levels. You know what I'm saying? Then we can start having real fun. You know what I'm saying? As far as when we start registering property and all type of stuff. Like, I still ain't dropped one of my secret weapons on y'all. I'm gonna do it. I've been telling myself I'm gonna do the webinar like 3 years ago, but I'm gonna do it, sooner or later. But yeah, certain ways we can register that trust and make I could purposely make it so that when they run that car, that shit say do not stop, do not apprehend, all that stuff.
Fire.
So
Y'all make
I
sure.
love their system. I don't run from their system. I have my system, they have theirs. I know how to use their system, and I know how to create mine. You see what I mean? So it's that's really what it's all about. Knowing how to navigate through.
Okay. If you guys want to join, I guess just inbox me, and then I'll have the link where you guys can join the Malachi Empire. You have to become a part of the tribe in order to get the benefits of it. You can't just join. We want you to be able to nation build, become a family, bring something to the table, and take something back to your family.
Exactly.
Personally, what I don't know how you feel about discussing your personal life, or you cannot answer the question or whatever.
Hey, let me have it.
All right. Is there a special person in your life? If not, what are you interested in? What is attractive to you? What are you looking for?
I can't say I look for anything. I just I'm on a mission. You know what I'm saying? So put it like this, anybody in my life has to have some type of significant role within the mission of my life. If they expect to be in close proximity of my life, you know what I'm saying? So put it like that. So that goes for anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because like I say, I'm at a point in time where I'm at a time, but I have time, but I have no time to waste and lose. So in my life, because of my mission, I have a lot of areas that needs to be filled, a lot of ground to cover. Now depending on, I don't know, if just like if you have, if I have an assembly line or whatever, that typically takes 10 people. But if we able to formulate a system that now we can be managed by 5, that means I only need 5 people to man the station. But if not, I might need 10. You know what I'm saying? So that reflects on the types of people and the number of people that would be in my life or whatever. Because even still, even just with the Malachi Empire, like I say, you guys are extensions of my family. You see what I mean? So, that's time and energy I have to give to my family on a consistent basis. You know what I'm saying? Every week I'm on Monday night Q&As. I'm on Tuesday night business hour. I'm on Wednesday night business. I'm doing, it's constant, it's like constant, while putting in, 10, 12, 16 hours a day. It's like, people thinking they be wanting the life, but they don't want the sacrifice. You see what I mean? So I put out a lot. So all I would say is that, you know, any woman in my life will have to know how to put on that crown or put it down, you know. And so, but they would have to first identify my crown, you know what I'm saying? And identify the mission and identify where they best see themselves being fit within that mission, you know. And that's it, you know. Don't conflict with the mission. It's all about the mission, and it's all about the family. So family is business, and business is family, you know. So anybody that has that mindset now because of this it makes it harder for me to have significant others and a smooth dating life, because I think it requires a lot, but um, but at the same time, it's not demanding. Like I'm not the type person that kind of like forces somebody into some shit. Like I won't. You can be with me for 10 years, and that don't mean you have any parts of shit, because I want to see what you want to do naturally. You see what I mean? But now, if you choose not to be a part, don't get mad because you know the distance between. You see what I mean? The situation. So that's all it is. You know.
Would you prefer monogamous or polygamy or polyandry?
Uh, you know, look, I've been trying the European way for a long time. You know, it'd be nice, but I don't think it's working. I don't think it's gonna work. Hopefully it does,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems that, and I think maybe it's just, you know, it just what I might require to accomplish the mission. I don't know, you know, or until I don't know. What I will say is that I'm not gonna waste any time. You know what I'm saying? I'm retired from the days trying to please one party. You know what I'm saying? So you know, like I say, it has to be an even yoke. So I'm open to the either. Whatever makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we can make sense. I'm not denouncing either one. You know, at this point, you know, because I honestly I can't afford to. You know, if I have one good one that can cover all them areas, well, shit, let's go. If not, well, looks like we're still hiring. You know, so I'm sorry. You know, it's just because, and it's not. They don't got nothing to do with me personally. You know, because when people think about you know, the poly thing, they automatically think, oh, bunch of wild sex. Like, no, that's like the last thing on my list when I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about multiple partnerships. You know, the last thing on the list is that. That's like, to me, that's a immature way of thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? So no, it's no. I'm talking about the real way. You know, if I was gonna do it, it's gonna be done the real way. You know, so yeah, you know, I don't speak about it because, you know, if you know, when that becomes, or if that becomes part of my, you know, my routine of my life, I'll be showing you guys how that shit is supposed to look, you know. But you know, up until it's like, even though I'm talking about it now, I keep my personal life private until certain things are absolutely solidified. And that, because I realize relationships affect more people than you. You know what I'm saying? Relationships affect my family, you know, both internal and external. You see what I mean? Like, you know, just think about it, you know, like, can't just let anybody, a person got to put in that work. You see what I mean? For that title, for that crown, because they automatically become, you know, how you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you got to go through the course, you know? But yeah, the way the world is, people think because they feel like they're good people and good persons, and they deserve that. They know that's not how it really works. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying. You know, to be granted, you know, access or the level of you know, uh, the pedestal level of respect, you know, of everything I've built. You know what I'm saying? You have to really show and prove, you know. And that's just my duty to protect what I'm building, you know. So that's my thing.
Dope. I had to throw something in there because I was trying to make my, my interview different from what everybody else's interview is about. Try to add razzle dazzle to it. You have an event coming up in June, and hopefully we can catch it. I'll be coming back from Jamaica, so I'll see how the ball bounce. But can you talk a little bit about that if anybody wants to join you on your retreat, and any other thing that you want to say before we end the live? Want the people to know.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked too, because my people was gonna be on me about that, because I always forget. So yeah, so I'm having we're starting a spirit tour, right? So the spirit tour is starting in June. So the spirit tour is the journey uh, of spiritual status correction. That is the highest level of status correction, which everybody seems to be neglecting or failing to realize. So that is where our church, our ministries will be holding ceremonies on the things on the sacred medicines that we practice with, which is Shanga, ayahuasca, DMT, rapé. Also, we'll have other complimentary services. It's a 3-day event or retreat, and it's going to have other inclusive services such as vegan meal, and it's going to be a vegan meal diet plan, guided meditation, yoga, and as well as group life coaching, and then other additional services that could be paid for is one-on-one spiritual evaluations, acupuncture, massage therapy, and possibly some more. We have right now. We have I think a couple slots, very limited slots. By the way, so first come, first serve. We only have a couple slots available for couples to have their own suite, and then everything else would be individual slots for individual group resting areas, and that's going to be in Atlanta, June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And the flyer is on my page as well. And oh yeah, my bad. The most important part, if you guys want to definitely jump on that or inquire about that, you guys can text 832-271, text or call. Text ceremony. My bad. Text ceremony to 832-271-6073. Again, that's 832-271-6073. Again, first come, first serve. And that's for the first Spirit Tour retreat located in Atlanta, June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. You don't want it. We're going to make it an amazing movie. And this is going to start a whole new wave. Trust me.
Definitely. Yeah, hopefully I can get in. Hopefully I can make that. Like I said, I'm coming from Jamaica. So yeah, but I definitely want to come. Do you have the next date already or not yet?
Nah, but depending on how you guys come in, we already have prepared to preset those dates moving forward. So.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. You guys can watch this. It'll be on YouTube, Kween Katt Podcast. It'll be available here, and it'll also be available on my podcast, which can be streamed on Apple and Spotify and anywhere you can find podcasts. The name of my podcast is Eat, Drink, and Be Merry by Kween Katt, KWEENKATT. And y'all make sure you subscribe to them all. Thank you so much for joining. You got something else you want to say?
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the God family of the Malachi Empire. Every last one of y'all. And special shout out and appreciation for you. And I just want you to know that I'm proud of everything you do, and I've been supporting your move. Like since I seen your spirit. You see what I mean? So I know you can do a lot of damage. You just need to be in the right direction with it. That's it. And that comes up with more time and experience. So shout out to the Queen. Shout out to the Queen.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate you for answering and talking and responding and, you know, being that light and being that teacher, being that blessing, you know. I appreciate you. And like I told you, it doesn't, it doesn't go for granted. But
Absolutely. Yes.
off, off the live. And thank you once again. Peace. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you're following both of us. And we will see you next time.
Peace.